Willie D Live.
What's up, family? You know how we often complain about this two-party system, how we need to start a new party and get rid of both of these guys? Family, at this rate, we're going to end up with a one-party system. Yeah, check this out. Virginia Supreme Court strikes down Democrats' redistricting plan, dimming party's midterm hopes. The Virginia Supreme Court on Friday struck down a voter-approved Democratic congressional redistricting plan, delivering another major setback to the party in a nationwide battle against Republicans for an edge in this year's midterm elections. The court ruled 4-3 that the state's Democratic-led legislature violated procedural requirements when it placed the constitutional amendment on the ballot to authorize the mid-decade redistricting. Voters narrowly approved the amendment April 21st, but the court's ruling renders the results of the vote meaningless. Writing for the majority, Justice D. Arthur Kelsey wrote that the legislature submitted the proposed constitutional amendment to voters in an unprecedented manner. This violation irreparably undermines the integrity of the resulting referendum vote and renders it null and void, he wrote. Democrats had hoped to win as many as 4 additional U.S. House seats under Virginia's redrawn U.S. House map as part of an attempt to offset Republican redistricting done elsewhere at the urging of President Donald Trump. That ruling, combined with a recent U.S. Supreme Court decision severely weakening the Voting Rights Act, has supercharged the Republicans' congressional gerrymandering advantage heading into this year's midterm elections. Now check this out, fam. Check this dude out. Richard Hudson, chairman of the National Republican Congressional Committee, said the ruling was another sign of GOP momentum heading into the midterms. We're on offense and we're going to win, he said in a statement. Don Scott, now check him out. The Democratic Speaker of the Virginia House of Delegates said this: Democrats respect the court's opinion while noting that the voters of the state had approved of the new congressional map. We gave the decision to the voters exactly where it belongs, and they spoke loud and clear, he said in a statement. They voted yes because they wanted to fight back against the Trump's power grab. And that's pretty much it, fam. That's all he said. We respect the court's decision. We gave it to the voters, and they wanted to fight back against the Trump power grab. Sounds like an op to me. Sounds like an op to me. You know, the Democrats, they got a lot of ops. They got a lot of ops within their party. They got a lot of ops who are really Republicans. But here's the deal, fam, and this is why I say this all the time. Those seats wield the same amount of power, influence, and it pays the same salary. Whether a Democrat is sitting in those seats or whether a Republican is sitting in those seats, you get the same, it's the same amount of power, influence, and money, right? So what separates one from the other is ideology. Ideology, and one might even say personality, right? The thing is this: with all of this wickedness and stuff that Trump is doing, everything that he's doing to roll the clock back on civil rights, guess who benefit from that anyway? White liberals. Yeah, man, they benefit from it. Yeah, they benefit from it. So this is why I believe a lot of them aren't up in arms. They know it's wrong, and so they just kind of like go along to get along because they're in the party. But they ain't tripping on those laws being rolled back. They ain't tripping like that. Yeah, most of them are Democrats because that was the opportunity that they had to win the seat. It was an open opportunity to win the seat. They looked at the path of least resistance, which politicians oftentimes do, and they vote according to their tribe. Which one of these parties can I enter into and win and get the most out of? That's what Trump did. Trump was leaning Democrat for years and years and years, but when he had an opportunity to run as a Republican and get the money and the power and the juice, when he saw all those racist folks that was ready for a change and get the black guy out of office, he was like, I'll do it. I'm your guy. I'm your guy. Yeah, so it's all about money, power, and influence. That's what it's about. It ain't about righteousness, because if it was about righteousness, we wouldn't be in this position. I'm going to tell you this, fam. It's going to take an act of God for the Democrats to win this midterms, because Trump and the Republicans are circumventing the law, they're rewriting the law, they're breaking the law, they're doing everything in their power to not give up power. They're doing everything in their power to win. They're collecting voter polls, they're suppressing the vote, they're redrawing the map, moving the goalposts, they're doing everything in their power to win. And if this country, I'm talking about the people, are not careful, we're going to end up with a one-party system, and that one-party system is going to be Republican forever. This is what Trump is talking about when he said, you only got to do it one more time. Remember during the campaign, when he was on the campaign trail, he said, you only got to vote one more time, just one more time. That's it. That's it. And look, I'm not even worried about it. He even said that. He said, I'm not even worried about your vote. I want your vote, but I really don't need it because we got so many votes. We're ready. We're going to win. Nobody in the history of politics has ever been that comfortable with saying something like that. I don't need your vote. We already got enough votes. This is before the voting even started. He said, we already got enough votes. That lets you know the game was rigged. They let you know the fix was in, man. The fix was in. So let me get this straight. The Republicans can stack the deck for redistricting. Only the Republicans can cry election fraud. Only the Republicans can bring frivolous lawsuits regarding voting outcomes. Only the Republicans can gain access to voters' ballots. Get it? The deck is stacked. The Supreme Court is compromised. The Supreme Court has been compromised. And this is what Trump was trying to do in his first term when he voted, I think, 3 new justices, when he appointed 3 new justices in his first term. This is what he was trying to do. He thought he would get a second term so he could, rape and pillage the economy then, but that didn't really too much work out. But now they're realizing, the Republicans are realizing that, hold on, man, all we got to do is keep on moving the goalposts and we can run this thing forever. We just got to keep moving the goalposts. It don't matter what the law say. Who gonna stop us? Who gonna check us? The Supreme Court is compromised. They're bought and paid for. Who gonna check? The Supreme Court is supposed to be the guys who oversee everything to make sure that, look, if you get past all these lower levels and all this, look, we are going to make the ultimate decision and do what's best for America according to the Constitution. They're straight up saying, F the Constitution. Gut it. Gut it. Fire people. Get rid of all of these. Get rid of the guardrails. Get rid of all of these oversight committees. Any organization that participates in government oversight, we getting rid of them. Consumer Consumer oversight, consumer protection, get rid of it. Everything. They're getting rid of everything so that they can run wild and rapid with no checks. That's the game. That's the game. Thanks, MAGA. No more talk.